$200 and $422 raise to Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, and SSI benefits. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. I know in this video, I do want to talk about the very popular and infamous $200 per month raise as represented by the Social Security Expansion Act, which would send out an extra $200 per month for all beneficiaries for the next 75 years. I also do want to talk about another program out there which has sent out $422 on average per month per household, and why all the excuses out of lawmakers right now make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Let's get into it and talk about all the details and what I want to share with you here in this video in regards to more money for fixed income beneficiaries. Really fast before we do, thanks so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe right down below the video. It's totally free to do so, and I'm here for you right by your side every single day to help you out in any way that I possibly can, keeping you updated with everything going on as things are changing very rapidly, and continuously advocating on your behalf as I truly want to do what I can to help you through this very confusing time. As we all know, there's a lot of things coming out right now, a lot of changes, and Congress will be changing these fixed income benefit programs. And again, I want to keep you posted with all of that as well as anything popping up you can possibly grab and or take advantage of. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it and talk about all the details of these programs, as in the $200 per month raise, as well as this other program, $422 per month on average per household, and what is the differences of these, and why is this such a big deal, and why are all the lawmakers really not making a whole lot of sense with what they're saying right now, right? So anyway, is that a shock to anybody? I mean, let's just be real for a second, right? Does that surprise anybody? Lawmakers not being completely transparent? Whoa, we're all completely shocked right now, right? No, not at all. In fact, it's almost to be expected, right? Politicians talking out of both sides of their mouth all at the same time makes no complete sense, and they just contradict basically everything they say. So anyway, let's talk about what's going on. All right, so like I said, the $200 per month raise represented by the Social Security Expansion Act. Now again, this one was introduced a little over a year ago by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and a handful of other Democratic senators. Bernie Sanders has had private meetings with the president. There's been a lot of different things. This is one that continues to come up time and time again. You've heard me talk about it before in other videos. This is not the first time I've talked about this. I've talked about it before. I've made dedicated videos about it. We've talked about all the details of this legislation, what this would mean, and all kinds of things like that. However, I want to talk about this program side by side to another program, and again, showing transparently why these lawmakers are full of it, right? So let me talk through the details. There's a bunch of different numbers here, but again, this will clearly show something that has already happened, and then the $200 per month raise side by side with that to show you exactly it's not that hard. They could easily get this done, no problem whatsoever. All right, so let's talk through the details really quickly. Assuming all 70 million Social Security beneficiaries. Now, obviously, it's not exactly right on the money, 70 million beneficiaries, but again, that's the number that I always throw out there because it's right around 70 million beneficiaries who do receive benefits administered by Social Security, okay? So let's just use 70 million. 70 million people and $200 per month would be $14 billion a month. More is what would be paid out to these beneficiaries, or $14 billion a month out across the entire year, 12 months. It would be $168 billion is what it would cost to them to actually do this over the course of 1 year. $168 billion more to basically help out the fixed income and the low income, basically get by every single month a little bit more easily, right? Not 100%, but at least a little bit more easily, get a little bit more out there to help you out with things like rents, groceries, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Just making a point here, this would help out in a major, major way. Now, let me talk about another program that came out a couple years ago. This is something that happened, and it went out on a monthly basis, okay? Now, again, if you were not eligible for this one, just stick with me because I want to use this as a comparison, okay? You'll clearly see all the numbers here in just a second. Let's go back to 2021, the child tax credit payments, okay? Remember that? Starting in July through December, 38 million households got on average $422 a month for 38 million households for the child tax credit payment, the advance payments, ongoing monthly checks, $422 on average. Guess what? That cost $16.35 billion a month. $2.35 billion more than what we're asking for with the $200 per month raise, okay? Over the course of that entire year, remember, those advance checks only went out for 6 months, but then in early 2022, all of these 38 million households and individuals could claim the other half of that. So essentially, it was the equivalent of going out for the entire year. Even though the advance payments went out for 6 months, there was a lump sum payment waiting for all of those people at the end of the year, early next year, when they filed their taxes. Remember all that? I talked about all the details as all that information was going on. So that was the equivalent of going out for an entire year, okay? Now let's run the numbers on that. $422 on average per month, $16.35 billion a month, multiplied by the entire year is $195 billion over the course of the entire year is what that actually costs. Now remember this much as well. They want to reinstate this. They've come out many, many times. A bunch of lawmakers have come out with individual pieces of legislation to reinstate the child tax credit payments, and they would actually be higher if they reinstated them, okay? Be more than the $422 a month on average. It'd be way more than that. So this is what they want to do, and they want to reinstate these. Now again, let's run the numbers on there really quickly. Remember, when I said it would cost $14 billion a month or $168 billion a year to implement the $200 per month raise to 70 million beneficiaries. Remember that number, 168. Now, $168 billion a year. Now let's compare that. $195 billion a year is what it was back in 2021. But guess what? If they reinstate this, it's going to be well over $200 billion. But let's just use $195 billion for all practical purposes because that is what actually happened, okay? So the difference on that is $27 billion. I believe that's correct. Yeah, $27 billion is the difference. So the child tax credit payments that technically went out to 38 million households, half the amount of people, right? 38 million is half the amount of the 70 million for fixed income beneficiaries, okay? So the money is going out to half the amount of people, but the dollar amount is double, more than double per person or per household that's going out. You kind of see where I'm going with this? And at the end of the day, the child tax credit payments and the advance payments cost $27 billion more than what it would actually cost for them to send out an extra $200 per month for 70 million people. See what I'm saying here? So we could reach technically twice as many people, 70 million versus 76 billion, sorry. So it'd be half the people, okay? So we could reach twice as many people, essentially 70 million people through Social Security by giving them a $200 per month raise, and essentially it would cost $27 billion less than what the child tax credit payments actually cost back in 2021, right? And going forward, if they actually do want to do their plan here, the new plan and the latest one that's coming out right now is talking about $393 per child per month, okay? Let's just think. The average household has, what is it, like 2.3 kids? Well, obviously you can't have a 0.3 kid, right? but you can have 2. So let's just say 2 kids on average. What is the math on that? $786, I believe, a month. That's significantly more than the 422, right? So that's a lot of extra money. So this number, this 195 that we saw back in 2021 would be well over $200 billion a year. Like, I don't know what the math on that is, like $250 billion a year, more than that even, close to probably $300 billion a year if they wanted to reinstate it at the current levels that they're talking about right now. So you can clearly see right here, where are the priorities of Congress? Are they, you know what I mean? Like where do they prioritize their information and their information or whatever they're trying to do here, right? Their objectives, their agendas, things like that. We can clearly see what they're doing here, right? So you can see with all these numbers right here, it would not cost that much. In the big picture, only $168 billion a year is what this would really cost for the fixed income beneficiaries to get an extra $200 a month. Now, one more thing I want to throw out there really quickly, which is this. Okay, so maybe they look at the situation and think, okay, anybody receiving a fixed income benefit administered by Social Security over, say, I don't know, $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month, something like that, maybe they don't need a $200 per month raise. Okay, fine. Well, that shaves that $70 million beneficiary number probably down to, I don't know, 50 million, something like that. It shaves it down a lot, tens of millions of people. Okay, well now it costs even less. Let's just say it's 50 million people that'd be eligible for this. who get a benefit under the threshold, whatever they would say $2,500 or $3,000, whatever it happens to be a month. Okay, well now we're sitting at maybe 50 million people. Okay, $200 per month raise on 50 million people is $10 billion now a month and $120 billion a year. We just saved $48 billion. Kind of see the math on that? So again, they could really refine this. Just because it was introduced to include virtually all beneficiaries doesn't mean that's how it would need to be passed. They could fine tune this a little bit and they could focus this money just on the lowest income beneficiaries, and they could easily do this. It would not cost that much. What, 100 billion a year, 120 billion a year, something like that. I know for us that sounds like, oh, that's a lot. That's like, I don't know how they could swing that. They can easily do it, which by the way, Social Security pays out $1.3 trillion a year to beneficiaries as of right now. Okay, so $100 billion more? Okay, fine. They pay out $1.4 trillion. Who cares? It's not that much more, right? So no matter how you cut it, Social Security is going to be reformed, okay? It's going to be reformed. Taxes will likely be going up and things like this, okay? So what are they going to do with all that extra money? Just pile it into the trust fund for the next 80 years? I guess they could, but why not use it and help out the beneficiaries now, today? You know what I mean? The problem is Social Security has major financial issues. No matter what Congress does, it's always going to have financial issues. And this whole solvency issue is always going to be out there. Always has been, right? Think of throughout the course of your entire life. How many times have you heard about Social Security being broke, bankrupt, about to run out of money, all kinds of stuff like this? We hear it all the time. We've been hearing it for virtually our entire lives, right? Because the program is broken, right? But at least it's working for now. But unless they make major fixes to it, it's always going to have financial issues. So anyway, I want to bring this to your attention really quickly just to show you that it's not that hard to do. If they really wanted to do this, and if this was the priority of Congress, they could easily do a $200 per month raise to help out beneficiaries in a major way, because they essentially already did it for other people that are maybe not fixed income beneficiaries, for families, households with dependent kids, remember? So anyway, my point is, I just want to give you these comparisons to show you the $200 per month raise would actually not cost that much compared to the child tax credit payments that went out in the second half of 2021 and then the lump sum in early 2022 as a result of that legislation. Make sense? Anyway, leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Otherwise, subscribe right down below the video. It's totally free. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Take care. Have a good one, and hope this helps you to better understand the situation. Have a nice day. I'll catch you again later.